What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Games Up podcast. Happy E3. We're still doing E3 coverage, and we are here with our reactions to EA's press conference. I'm Cameron McCulloch-Keeble, and I'm joined as ever by Lewis Crawford.
Hello.
And Lawrence Titley.
Watcher.
And we three together make up Games Up. So we're going to go chronologically as we do through EA's press conference. So we started off with fancy title reel and then Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
That's its title.
Yeah.
What do we think?
It looked, well, I mean, we got so little, to be honest.
Yeah.
We can't really say much more than it's a Mass Effect game.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the trouble. I'd like to say, oh, it looks so exciting, but
They did have some very
Mass
shiny
Effect game.
helmets. Very pretty helmets.
That's true. Their headgear was...
On virtue of that alone, yeah, that's getting my complete endorsement just because of those lovely shiny helmets.
7.8, too much headgear.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of disappointed it's not just called Mass Effect 4.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of done with subtitles.
Maybe they wanted it to be out of this galaxy.
All right, pack it up, people. We can get... Spring 2016... Kind of, yeah, we should have seen more.
Yeah.
Because Spring 2016 is early next year, right?
Yeah,
We'll
so
see something.
They should have some stuff sorted out by now.
Yeah.
We'll see. When's the next chance we'll hear from them again? Because I'm sure we're going to get something soon.
Gamescom?
Maybe.
Either that or it's on one of the other press conferences.
Maybe.
Like, either that or Sony wheel it out.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
That could be possible. Because it's such a small tease that would be surprising if they don't show more.
Yeah,
They
I
did put
agree.
it right at the beginning. So maybe they wanted you all to kind of peg that in your mind and then forget about it.
Yeah,
It could be
very
Sony.
possibly.
Jeez.
That's potential.
Mm.
So then we moved on from that to Need for Speed.
Yeah.
They had a couple of trailers.
Yeah.
Was one of them wasn't a demo, but it was kind of like an extended trailer, almost demo, right? It focuses on customization. There's like 5 different modes that are being pulled together to make the ultimate Need for Speed experience, whatever that is. Overlapping stories. I don't know. Nothing about this really makes me want to play a Need for Speed game.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've lost faith in Need for Speed since about 6 years ago. So
Wow, that's a long time to have lost faith in it.
yeah.
You must be quite faithless in them. Have the faith been continuously draining out, or like...
It used to be a really good series.
Like, can we follow the trail of faith on the floor and trace it back to where you first lost faith?
Are there like markers down the side of your faith tank where the faith has drained down?
So something tells me you're not Need for Speed's biggest fan, then.
I haven't. I'll be honest. It's been a long while since I played Need for Speed. It's been like 6-7 years. It's
Right.
true.
Same time as me.
It was actually. I think it might have been. It was. I seem to remember at the same time I was reading about the whole about thingy,
About
thingy,
thingy.
about that satellite that's going to go past Pluto. So I think that would be 2006.
Oh, I see.
So
That's a very specific
9 years
marker.
ago. Jeez.
I remember it on the front of the New Scientist. But anyway, it's been a while.
So, all in
So I
all,
have a-
This
Need
is
for
how your memory
Speed,
works.
cool if you like it. We thought it looked a little bit too scripted.
Mm.
The camera work was a little bit annoying. Like when you drifted and the
Yeah.
camera work was pulling with you all the time.
Yeah, that
and,
was unpleasant.
the graphics to me look overly flary. Like,
Well,
I'm sick
yeah.
of everything being lens flare. Like when the police...
It makes it so difficult
When you were
to play those
wanted by the
games.
police, and instead of just saying you're wanted by the police, it insisted on like flashing sirens in your face.
I played the one before the Need for Speed before this one. I think it's Most Wanted again. Or
Yeah,
something
there
like
was
that.
Most Wanted.
And it's so difficult to play because of things like lens flare, bloom, and then the lighting thing that means that you can only see sort of, 100 meters in front of you, and then something you're going at 1,000 miles per hour, and you hit something before you can even sort of react.
Yeah, the crash cam as well was really
Yeah.
tedious with that.
It is. I mean, it is a very nebulous kind of complaint to make. But like Lewis was commenting out through, and I agree that it looked like they had a very good driver handling the car.
Yes.
And I can imagine
Yeah.
the number of mistakes that I would have made by the time we got to there would have made the game very frustrating.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So yeah, then we moved on from Need for Speed to the Old Republic. They discussed a new expansion, which is free.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
The character in it and the sort of attitude that character was portrayed. But
Yeah.
He did have a crew cut.
he didn't have the crew cut. That's true. He didn't. But he did have the robot part face.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that they decided to go with that.
But we'll get on to Star Wars. It's fine if you like the Old Republic. It's fine if you like Star Wars, but it didn't look... It wasn't presented amazingly well, I think. Then we got the new IP, which was Unraveled, which you can tell is already
like they made a big deal of like super hyping it up and being like, this is the most original game you've ever seen.
Yeah,
you haven't seen anything like this before. But from what I could tell, it's Little Big Planet, except you've got like a bit of string that follows you that you can use to make puzzles.
Yeah,
the presentation was equal parts sweet and saccharine.
Yeah,
to be honest, it was. Yeah.
It was very awkward.
Yes.
And it was one of those. It was like, you know how for most of these conferences, it's old guys in suits trying to be. This is what the kids talk about these days.
We're so hip and young.
Yeah. But this was kind of the opposite of that, where it's like, I'm not a robot that does not have no feelings.
Look at this. This elicits human emotion. Does it not?
Yes. This is how sad feels and looks. And then the guy brought out like a woolly toy. So the gameplay is 2.5 or 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer, but you're made out of wool.
Yes.
So
there seems to be some overarching meta-narrative. I'm not sure what that was.
Well, it's about life.
Yeah, it's about life
it's
and
about
how sad you feel and how unraveled you are.
We carry strings with us all the time.
Yeah, and we're
tied to places.
And sometimes we have to climb into caves with killer fucking squirrels in them.
Yeah.
It was a terrifying squirrel.
Death squirrel.
It's going to haunt my nightmares tonight.
I'm going to add the hashtag death squirrel to the description for this. Yeah, it felt very robotic. And the game looked fine. I mean, it looked like the kind of 2D... It looked what you expect from a 2D puzzle platformer, but it looked fine in that regard. But after 20 minutes of them talking about, it's the best and most innovative thing ever, and it's so emotional and connected, and it didn't really live up to all the talk that it had been given, which was kind of a shame, because had it not been given that and just been a sort of out of left field...
Yeah,
this is totally not what we expect EA to make. Like, if it is focusing on the whole human emotions, trying to tell an emotive story... Well,
human
but
emotions?
not just that, but, like, it's not Uber Dude Bro shoot 'em up, free-to-play, annualized... Like... It does actually look like something new from EA, but they had to hype it up in such an EA way that it damaged its...
Yeah, it definitely did, actually. I think like if they'd come across and just been like, this is a really exciting new game, then it did look exciting and good.
Yeah.
But because of this is something exciting and new and no one's ever seen it before...
Yeah. They were so insistent on you liking it that it's just impossible to like it.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And we finally got a classic awkward E3 moment.
Yeah.
Where somebody has to come out in a fucking suit.
It was awkward.
Has to be dressed up and play
super
with
duper awkward.
Oh god, it was terrible.
It was even more awkward were the participants' attempts to not make it awkward.
Yeah. But like it was terrible. And then they showed more Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Yeah.
And it looks like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Yeah, this
there's much to comment.
It bugged me a lot, just because it is just this could have been DLC, and it could have been like a £5 add-on.
Yeah,
to Garden Warfare.
No, I'll throw in. I like that they're adding a solo play thing. I like they're adding bots. I like they're adding split screen. Split screen always good in a game.
Yeah,
but I feel like that probably could have been added as DLC. I feel like these probably could have been DLC. And if they had come out and pitched it as like a big expansion pack, awesome. But this is an entirely disc-based game.
Yeah,
like,
and
I don't know
when they showed it. Literally, the first thing I said is, "This is the same game."
Yeah.
Because it's
but Lewis,
not.
they have a new sniper class now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is just classes like
Oh, and robots.
the.
Stolen from
Yes.
Titanfall.
Yeah. Big robot.
Yeah.
Yes. And Titanfall's in it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zombie fall.
unhappy with it. Just
Zombie-
because it could have been.
Tombyfall.
They could have just said this is like a massive content update,
Yeah.
or even like a £10 game, like a £10 DLC thing, But to present it as an entirely new game just seems like you're rehashing.
Yeah. I agree. So then we moved on from that to loads of sports stuff. So
Sports,
we'll breeze
woo.
through this. There was NHL.
Excellent.
It looked like NHL. There was a really large sports section where they talked about ultimate team stuff in NFL and NBA and FIFA. I've put something here about out on golf.
Yeah,
There's
golf.
fantasy golf and like space and the Grand Canyon for some reason.
I don't quite mind fantasy golf.
Oh no, there was definitely like a fantasy
No,
section.
I mean I think I'm okay with that. I could play a fantasy golf game.
Yeah. And they talked about they're making a golf game with a Frostbite 3 engine.
Interesting.
I don't really know why you need to do that. Like, I think, surely the important bit about making a golf game is the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, surely it's got to be mechanic first rather than visuals.
Mm.
It seems like approaching a golf game and being like, we're making it with this rendering engine is kind of missing the point of making a golf game.
But if it's next gen, of course, there has to be a certain amount of graphics focus.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
What else?
Then they showed us the NBA Face app, where
Yep.
you can make your face in a game if for some reason, and then they showed us some mobile games. That's a Star Wars mobile game that they didn't show; they just told us the title of.
Yeah.
And then a Minions game that looks nothing like the Minions.
Yeah, and
Again-
it just looks like another tapped out,
Yeah,
We
another
had this kind
city builder. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, we had this kind of discussion. I was kind of wondering what it was doing on E3, because it didn't really. It looks like it's not the kind of thing you'd advertise on E3.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah.
small
Yeah.
and insignificant for something like this. It's a spin-off
Yeah.
franchise of a spin-off game
yeah.
of a mobile phone platform game.
We have a big rise in mobile games, for sure. With the big every big contender seems to have a mobile game.
Yeah, and with
Coming
Square
out.
Enix still to come. That's
Yeah,
a
that's-
worrying
yeah.
thought.
I mean, so far we
wouldn't it
haven't
be great
had,
if we got Final Fantasy VII, the remake, finally, but it's on iPad?
so far we haven't had a presentation without a mobile game.
Not true.
I don't know.
Xbox.
Did not remember. Well, I
Don't
guess not.
think so. They had Windows 10 stuff,
Yeah. Okay.
and they had like Minecraft on
Yeah.
the Surface, but that's already there.
Yeah. Okay. I guess they didn't. Okay.
I don't think so. I can't think of one. They didn't even show the mobile stuff for Fable Legends.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, more mobile games, neither of which really looked great. Then they had Pele come on and talk for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And tell us some of his favourite stories. And it was
It's
really
very fun.
cool to hear some of Pele's stuff and to hear some of the stuff he was saying. But it was a bit Terry Wogan-esque.
Yeah.
It was like Jules Holland to Top of the Pops. Like there was like big stupid lights and sounds and the massive screen and the big clapping audience, and then they sat Pele down on a stool for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Kind
and
of
he-
bumbled about
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
in a vocabulary circle.
Have you ever seen the Family Guy joke where they're doing the ringside commentator with the boxer who's like really old and decrepit and hurt,
Yeah.
and he
yeah.
doesn't know what he's saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, happy birthday, Floyd. Oh, you're welcome. Like it was that kind of
Yeah.
stuff for like
Yeah.
15 minutes, and then
It was like it was a personal interview.
and we were joking, like we were sat watching it and joking. Oh, and now that he's gone, FIFA. And then they said that. Like, he left the stage, and the guy said, and now it's time to get onto the thing we brought you here to see. Which was like, okay. Like, either have him on and go with it, or insult
Yeah.
him. Don't do both.
This is the thing, is after a certain amount of FIFA, they then had Pele's face up on the screen.
Yeah.
To talk about the FIFA, and there was no apparent connection between the two.
Yeah.
It was
very strange.
as if the pitching for these two separate scenes has happened in two different continents.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. It was though they didn't quite have the trailer ready to go before he came on stage, so it just finished rendering when they were finished.
Maybe Pele is so inscrutable and strange that you never quite know what he's going to say when he comes on the stage.
It was
He
strange
doesn't
that-
enter the building; you just find him,
Yes, he turns up like a mysterious zephyr.
like his football vampire. And of course, they talked about having women players in, and
Okay,
and rightly
good
so.
step
Like
forward.
good, but they talked about it as though like it
I think I
was.
zoned out the entire thing.
I think there was. if you are a sports
Person?
a sports person, a computer sports person, then really sorry, none of us are particularly qualified to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
our coverage of that
Not
isn't-
quite the people, yeah.
Yeah, we are not extremely sporty and not incredibly into sports games, but I also think that their presentation of the sports games wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then we saw Mirror's Edge. And we kind of saw 2 minutes of gameplay,
Yeah.
and it looks like Mirror's Edge.
It looks like we want.
I don't like necessarily that this is an Origins story. Like, I don't know if they confirmed that it was an Origins story
Yeah, they did.
before.
Oh, no, sorry, no. Sorry, go on.
Like, I don't know if they confirmed it's an Origins story
Yeah,
before
right.
this E3.
I don't think so.
Like, I think the way we had known about it before was that it was just set before Mirror's Edge and it was standalone.
Yeah.
And now it seems very much to have this sort of driven story to it, and they talked a lot about combat. I don't know. They didn't show again what we needed to see from Mirror's Edge. Like, what we needed to see from Mirror's Edge was a few minutes of the game where you show off how good the platforming is, how fancy the stylized graphics are.
Yeah.
You show some of the cool moves you can do, and then you're like, cinematic trailer, pre-order. And what they instead did was like this sort of CG, sort of gameplay mix trailer. There was no demo. They said play it on the show floor, which is cool, but I don't know, it didn't... I feel like EA have missed the beat on how to present things the past few E3s, and this was the closest they've got, but it still wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like, last year was the worst when they did the, like, dev diary behind-the-scenes things. Because they literally showed, like, when they revealed Mirror's Edge last year, revealed or, like, talked about Mirror's Edge last year, it was literally 2 minutes of watching somebody program and saying, we're working really hard on making the surfaces shiny with this codec and stuff. And that's fine, but, like, it's not E3.
Yeah.
And this felt not quite E3.
Maybe EA is just one giant experiment in how to create a machine that can perfectly imitate a human, and just every time they're getting close, but not quite there. They're an entire staff of automatons presenting as a human would.
EA is not a company. EA is one being.
Yeah,
It's
Legion.
one piece of it. EA is Legion.
it is. It is.
It does not forget.
Then we went to the real high point, which was more sports games.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They talked about a fantasy football experience, but it's part of NFL, but it wasn't really made clear that it was part of NFL. So for the first few minutes, it looked like a totally different game, which was kind of interesting. And then you lump it into NFL,
Yeah.
and then they took it out of NFL, and it was...
I was a bit
why
unsure
it
about that.
wasn't part of the sports section, I don't get, because the momentum was like... Right from the start, they said, Battlefront is coming at the end of
Yeah.
this, please stay tuned.
Wow. Did they say please?
Yeah, they said, like, the guy literally came out on stage and said, like, stay tuned for Battlefront. They never
It's
said
coming.
please.
It's coming. We
Yeah.
promise. Stick around.
And so they, like, went from sports to Mirror's Edge, and the momentum kind of wrapped up, and right down to confusing bit about fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not the people to talk about sports, but it was a bit flaccid.
Yeah.
And then they showed us
That's
what we've been waiting for 50 minutes, which was Battlefront.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what to think about it yet.
Yeah, I still... watching it, I come to it quite prejudiced against it.
Right.
just because of all of the different, like, this is what the game was, this is what it is now.
Yeah.
So I find it hard to judge it. From what I saw, it looked good, but it looks more like Battlefield.
Yes, that's
I
the
forget
other
my battles.
That's the other shooting game.
Or it looks like. I mean, it's. Did they detail how you go into vehicles and things, or if it's
No.
just sort of
No, they showed a gameplay demo from multiple perspectives, apparently on a PS4, which if it is, that's fairly impressive
Yeah,
because
it
it
looked
does
really good.
look stunning.
Although they did make some, one might say, possibly a very cynical choice, choosing the. I don't know what the rest of the game is like, but I'm willing to bet that an entirely white background
Yes,
probably renders a lot easier, or probably is easier to do a lot better graphics with than, say,
that's
more...
a very fair point. Like a forest area will probably
Yeah.
struggle more. That's
Yeah,
really interesting. I've not thought about that.
But yeah, it looked a lot more generic than the old games used to be. Kind of, you would choose one of these like 5 different things you could be, and it was more fun in that way. Whereas this does feel a lot more like you're the grunts.
Yes.
Although there does seem to be more gameplay, as it were, a variety of gameplay mechanics
Yeah,
compared with
True.
with the old
that is true.
previous Battlefront.
I don't know.
They showed a gameplay demo. Sorry, captured on a PS4 from multiple perspectives. So you switch between good guys, bad guys, one type grunt, another type grunt, one in an AT-AT, one in this, that, the other, one taking it down. And I don't know. Maybe I'm too stuck in what PlayStation 2 Battlefront was.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the problem is that I'm prejudiced against this because Battlefront couldn't work on the current gen. Maybe that's the problem. But this felt too military shooter like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Like,
it's
everything from like the UI didn't feel Star Warsy. It's so minimalist and silly, but like the crosshairs didn't feel Star Warsy. They felt guns.
yeah.
And even when they brought in Vader, like when they brought in Vader and Luke, they felt like Star Wars characters in a snow battle, rather than Star Wars characters
Yeah.
in a Star Wars scene.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
I don't know.
I suppose your shooters are more, I don't know, linear progression set piecey, and the nature of a trailer is linear progression set piecey, just because that's how you show off mechanics and show off different parts of it,
Yeah,
and
very
that
true.
tends towards a more shootery style. I don't know. We can't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think it's a fair bet to say we'll probably get more at Sony's.
Yeah.
Sony have paid out stupid money to have the advertising rights on this, so I think we'll probably see more at Sony.
Here's hoping that like we get the things that, like, if they turned around and said that we're changing it so that it's got the content that we want that was there originally, instead of what was announced, it's going to be there now. In terms of like what maps there are, the space combat that people are annoyed about.
But they're never going to do that. This game's out in November, and they can't
true.
push it, like because I assure you, this is planned for Star Wars Episode 7, and they have something planned for Star Wars film next year and the film after.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't surprise me. It was just that they said like, "Oh, we've been listening to you, and we know what you want to see," and I'm like, "Oh, they're going to reveal more content."
Yeah,
And it's like, no, you wanted to see
gameplay,
gameplay, and I'm like,
which we wanted to see from day one.
yeah, but of course I want to see gameplay, but I want to see the stuff that you took away from this game in the first place.
A couple of things put me on edge about this. Firstly, I was almost certain I would have put very good money on them saying, and there's a Battlefront beta, and it's live right now. And they didn't.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they need to, because the big thing about Battlefront is the thing that makes Battlefront great that you really can't explain is it feels like Battlefront. And I know that's such a nebulous term, because what does Battlefront feel like? So I feel like I think they need to put something out that makes people go, oh, this feels like Battlefront. And they didn't.
Is it possible that they're not chasing this feels like Battlefront so much,
Yeah, that is.
and you're afraid of that.
Yeah,
Mm,
because
Yeah.
because I remember Battlefront 2 so fondly. I don't want anything but Battlefront 2, and that's as much the problem as it is, like, the thing itself. But
You're too invested.
yeah,
You're in too deep.
Yeah.
There is the possibility that this is coming with Sony, of course.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Sony say there's a beta and it's live right now, and it's Sony exclusive. But it feels like that would be silly for EA to do with such a big franchise. Like, it was definitely silly of them to do it with Hardline on the Xbox One last year. You think they'd have learned a lesson. So hopefully not, but also hopefully so, because we need to play it.
There better be a beta, because I think any game like that doesn't have a beta is bound to just not work on day one.
Yeah, that's another thing as well, is after the Battlefield 4 problems, we kind of need to know we can trust them to make this work.
Yeah.
And they're not swinging me so far. So that was a fairly brief, but wrap up of the conference. What did you think of it?
Not great, I guess, in general. Like, it's that whole thing with pacing, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like start off with Mass Effect, and then it's kind of like, and we're going down, 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 down.
Mm-hmm.
And then Battlefront, yay! But we're still kind of just back where we started.
Yeah.
We're not like Ubisoft last year. Although I'm a bit of a fanboy of theirs, even though I'm really disappointed when you look back at it now and you're like, oh, so that was all kind of rubbish. But when that conference finished, everyone was like, Ubisoft had won E3, and people were like, oh, this is going to be the best year in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how a good conference ends, and this did not feel like that.
No, not in the slightest.
A good conference is a remarkably good shill.
Yeah. Yeah, we should be able to look at it a year after and feel empty and hollow.
No, I prefer it when my conferences come out and say, we're really shit.
I guess, let's say good at the time then, I guess. But yeah.
What about you?
Needs more killer bees, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt less badly put together than the Microsoft one.
Really?
Really?
Even Bumbly Pele?
It did go right in the dross section, but the dross on this one was definitely more dross than the Microsoft one. But again, I don't feel I'm in a position to make much of a judgment just because so much of it was the sports.
Okay.
I don't know. The presentation was a bit off, but I think they put the ordering correctly.
Okay.
Really?
In that they put the rubbish in the middle.
Okay. So a bit of a mixed reaction from us then this time round. It was very classic E3 conference in that it will be remembered for its awkwardness, its one good moment, and I thought we'd got a little bit better than that, and clearly we haven't. Bit of a shame. But a mixed one overall, and so now we await Ubisoft's conference. And remember, we're doing E3 coverage all the way through this year's E3's conferences. So thank you very much for sticking with us. Until next time, the game's up and death squirrels.